Hello, my name is Matthew Corbin, and I'm here today with one of my friends.
Hi, I'm Nick.
And today we're going to be talking about one of his favorite mangas called Chainsaw Man, which so far from what I've read, it's been really good. It was supposed to have an anime adaptation this year. Currently, due to COVID and other setbacks that have been happening in the anime industry, it was pushed back. So, do you have any thoughts on that?
Honestly, with how the past couple of years have been, it's been inevitable. But as long as the end result is good and they do this manga justice, I think it'll be worth it.
So, we read, or I read, he's read way past this. I've read the first two volumes, which leads up to chapter 16. Which, by the way, the volumes in this they end very bad. They end with huge cliffhangers, which I know some manga do. I just wasn't expecting from this for how long the chapters are in terms of how many volume or chapters are in a volume. But we have several characters. The main five we'll kind of be talking is there's Denji, which is our main character. Pochita, who is in there for just a little bit, but he's very important to the cast. Hawakawa, Power, and Makima. And all of them seem, just from what I have seen, they seem like very powerful and influential characters. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so let's start with Denji. What are your thoughts on Denji?
Um, I mean, he's the bread and butter of this series. He's the main character for obvious reasons. He's on the cover.
Yeah.
He's one of those characters that are motivated by trying to get out of debt. Like, you see him struggling to the point where it's all his eye, part of his organs, even a testicle, just to make the money back for the mafia.
Yeah, he's very
From
much, from what I got, he's very much that, like, generic yes man. He's willing to do anything just to get a little bit of dough, a little bit of cash, whatever you want to call it, just to get by. And sadly, in a lot of other countries, debt, like stuff like that, just gets thrown on their children.
yes,
You can
and
kind of get away with it a little bit in America by writing, deceased letters and stuff, and sometimes it'll get pushed off. But definitely in other countries, it's a lot more relevant there. I was really happy. So one thing that happens to Denji is he ends up getting killed in the first chapter actually, which is the longest chapter out of any of them. And his pet, who's actually a devil, has a little chainsaw, it's a chainsaw dog type thing, sacrifices himself and like becomes his heart, so brings him back to life. I thought that was really cool. That's Pochita's the pet. I think overall the pet's really cute, and I see why a lot of people like try to collect the stuffed animals of it. Do you have any
yeah,
thoughts on Pochita?
he's adorable.
He's very
Like,
adorable.
he's cute, and the best part is he can be used as an actual chainsaw.
Yeah, we don't have too many animals that are practical these days, huh? Mainly just dogs.
Yeah, for the most part. Which, I mean, he kind of is a
Yeah.
dog.
Dog with a chainsaw, close enough.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and talk about Makima. How do you feel about her?
Um, See, I've read the entire series, so I have a very set opinion,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't want to say anything
Okay, so if you were a new
too big.
reader, like if you were to describe her to someone who's just started.
I think she's just trying to figure out how he works so that she can use him to kill these devils.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's obviously influenced by certain things, he wants to touch boobs.
Yeah, that was
That is his whole motivation.
yeah, Denji is very much your regular perverted protagonist. It's very it's very throughout the entire first two volumes. He just wants to touch boobs. But I mean, I guess it's okay. It's
Yeah,
a big thing. Ecchi's huge in manga, especially for males. Um,
yes.
I will say Hawakawa. I'm very surprised by his character. At the end of volume two, you find out some interesting things about why he's
Hmm.
actually working with the people he's working with, and I thought that was pretty cool. Except for the fact, his brother's dead, but
Yeah. Um, See, his motivation, it's driven by revenge, basically.
hmm
And I'm all for that. Like, it works for his character. He's the quiet, stoic type, and it just works.
yeah. I was very so far. I think as of right now, he's probably one of my favorite of the five. Denji's kind of cool, but I'm not a big fan of the super perverted protagonist. If that changes, Denji will definitely be my top tier. But I just Hayakawa is just kind of like, hey, I'm here. I'm going to do my job. Leave me alone. I have to, get satisfaction for what happened to him. Now
Hmm.
Power, I love the whole how stupid Power is, and she's just like the super like I don't know, very aggressive, but also kind of not really thoughtful of anyone else.
Yes. She lives up to her name, Power,
Hmm.
but that's all she has. There is nothing going on upstairs.
She's got her cat, you know. That,
Meowie? Yes.
Meowie was the big thing. It was an entire like 5 chapters. Gotten to rescue
Yep.
Meowie. I do know one thing I really enjoy about the overall comic so far is the way that the power system works. Because a lot of times you have like, oh, the universal level or the galactic or multi-dimensional, whatever it is. In this one, it's really cool because the devils, like their powers are based on how scared people are of the actual thing. So one of the things they use in the beginning as like a reference is if there was a coffee devil, almost no one in the world's like afraid of coffee, so who'd be scared of that? So it wouldn't be strong. But they talk about a car devil who could just go and be running over people, and you could definitely see how like that would be a lot stronger than just coffee due to the fact of more people die from getting hit by cars than coffee.
Yeah. I think it's interesting to see fears like that personified
Mm-hmm.
and how like horrifying they can look. Like even like the Bat Devil, which appeared early on, he looks terrifying at points.
The bad devil wasn't the one that got me. It was the leech devil.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That
That
one's
was
a
the
lot
one that
worse.
I was like, oh, okay. Because like in the beginning, you see the chainsaw devil as the puppy,
Hmm.
and then you see chainsaw man when they fuse together. I thought that was really cool. Even like the floating weird like zombie. I don't remember what the devil was called. It might have been zombie devil.
He is
Uh,
the zombie devil.
it wasn't really like terrifying. It was kind of just generic. I watched and play a lot of zombie games, so it's just like I expect something like this. But seeing leeches personified like that was a lot more disgusting than what I was expecting.
Yes. And the fears like that just keep getting more and more outrageous.
Hmm.
Like, if there's a huge fear that people are scared of, it's going to be shown, and it's horrifying at
Yeah,
times.
I know you mentioned when we weren't talking about this on recording, but you were telling like the gun devil, like it's mentioned so early on in chapter 12, but you said it doesn't come on until like way later. Like you don't actually get to
Yeah,
see who he is. But I can just imagine so many people are scared of guns in this world, like the strength, and they even show that he killed over 1.2 billion people in just a few minutes, or 1.2 billion or million. It was one of those in just a few
billion
minutes.
in
Um,
seconds.
oh, seconds. Sorry, it was just so
And
quick.
mhm.
Uh,
Right now, I suspect that he will be coming out in issue 8. That is currently not out.
oh, so he's not even out with up to date material.
No,
Oh,
like
okay.
yeah, they tease him early on. You kind of forget about him because of these few arcs that are about to happen, and then all of a sudden he shows up.
Wow, I thought. I see in my head it was like like volume 5 or something, a little teaser. No, wow, 6 more volumes and he might be in there. That kind of reminds me
Yep.
of Blast from One Punch Man. If you've read it,
Hmm.
you don't even meet Blast until in the hundreds, and
Cool.
he's mentioned very early on. I think he's only been in like 3 or 4 chapters now. I'm a little bit behind, so there may be a few more.
Uh,
But overall, what would you say is like your favorite and your least favorite part of the manga?
it has to be the artwork. Like there are times when you see the fighting and our main character, Chainsaw Man, will like stab someone, and as he's stabbing, you can see the sound effects kind of carve a picture of what he is doing in that image with chainsaw sound effects, just
Hmm.
slicing down the character.
Yeah, I will say the art is definitely my favorite. I think the story is kind of generic, except for the whole power scaling, aka your
Hmm.
perverted main lead, your female who's just trying to use him, these other male quote unquote main lead, supporting main lead, who's just kind of there for revenge. You see
Mhm.
that in so many manga these days. But I did really like all like
Yeah.
the how they personified like when he was attacking with the like chainsaw like uh revving and stuff.
Yes. There is a lot of character development later on. Like these characters do change, and the story just gets even more insane as it goes on. But you do see the main character grow. You do see him kind of focus in on what he's really needing to do. But yeah,
Do you have a part that you just don't like about the manga so far?
um,
Without giving
it'd
any
be a
spoilers, obviously.
oof. Uh, it had to be just a handful of characters that come up later on. This is a slow starting story. I will say that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first two issues don't nearly do it as much justice as as it gets later on.
Okay. Well, like I'm probably gonna end up continuing reading this, so we can also come back for a part 2 later on if you'd like to talk more about it. So you don't
Oh
gotta keep
yeah,
us quiet. Uh,
yeah, that'd be great.
what would you rate like the story and the art out of 10, like separately?
Separately,
Yes,
story I want to give about an 8.5, a 9.
8.5 or a 9. That's pretty high.
Like I don't know what it was about this, but just a simple story of a kid in poverty where his only meal for some days is a single slice of bread. I find it neat that, he decides instead of, getting a part-time job or something like that, he's like, I'm just going to go kill a bunch of devils.
Yeah, it very much gives that comeback feel. I think
Yes.
personally, as right now, because like I said, I read a lot. You know I do. I
Yes.
give the story about a 5, 5.5. It feels very generic to me. I'm hoping that when I read more, it has a lot more like impact to the story, and that my number will hopefully go higher. I do know I'm very excited for the anime adaptation. You know, the trailers and everything were just spot on.
Yes.
Now on art, I do think the art is very well done. For a manga, I like I said, we talked about earlier. You know, the sounds and everything that are personified in the artwork. I think I would definitely give the artwork an 8 out of 10, personally.
Consider this artwork a masterpiece. It's nowhere near as in-depth or detailed as, the Berserk manga,
Yes.
but there are points when you can see like inspirations from a lot of different horror comics. And I think a big one is Junji Ito.
Yeah, the Junji Ito collection is very huge into the horror.
Yes. And there are times when you can obviously tell it takes inspiration from that.
Yeah, like I know at the end of chapter 16, you see that I forget which demon it is, but it's
The
very
Infinity Devil.
yeah, it's very just disgusting and it looks somewhat similar to something you'd see in the Junji Ito collection.
Yes. Along with the page turn effect, where everything's fine on one page and then all of a sudden there's the demon.
Yeah, it's very just in your face out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you very much for joining.